Steve here. So if you saw the title of this episode, you know I've got some Game of Thrones predictions about tonight's episode and who's going to live and who's going to die in the Battle of Winterfell. Okay, for those of you who didn't watch last week's episode of Game of Thrones, the Night King and his army of the undead marched to Winterfell. Tens of thousands of ice zombies are about ready to attack. And inside the castle of Winterfell, you have just about every character on Game of Thrones right now. Jon Snow, Daenerys, Arya, Sansa, you name it, they're in the castle, except for Cersei, who's down at King's Landing along with Bronn. But there's a shitload of named characters in the castle. A lot of people think tonight's episode is going to be a bloodbath. A lot of those characters are going to get killed off. It's going to be like the Red Wedding or when Cersei blew up the Sept. A lot of characters are going to die. And I have my predictions of who I think is going to die in tonight's episode of Game of Thrones. All right, let's just get it started. All right, let's just start this off with some minor characters. First off, we have Quahono. Now, Quahono, if I'm saying that right, he's one of the main Dothraki characters. I think he's going to get killed off tonight. Maester Wolkan. I think he's going to live, just because they're going to need someone to send out the ravens, letting everyone know that they survived the Battle of Winterfell. Lord Royce, Sansa's friend from the Vale, I think he's going to live just so they have someone to go back to the Vale and get more troops when they take on Cersei. Lady Karstark. Do you remember this character? I don't. So I think she's going to live just because people forgot that she was there. Lady Mormont. Oh yeah, Lady Mormont, the sassy little go-getter that everyone just loves. She's going to die. And I don't think that she's just going to die because she's a beloved character. Also, if she gets killed off, then someone has to take charge of House Mormont. And the only other Mormont that we know who's alive is Jorah, and that's going to give him something to do where he has to leave Cersei. He's like, I got to take care of my family, Cersei. I can't be by your side when you become queen. Speaking of which, I guess I gave this one away. Jorah Mormont. He, of course, is going to live. Like I said, with his little cousin getting killed off, he has to take charge of House Mormont and leave Cersei. Speaking of Cersei's inner circle, we'll start off with Grey Worm, the head of the Unsullied. Yeah, I think he's going to live. And, okay, speaking of Grey Worm, let's talk about his main squeeze, Missandei, the translator. I think she's going to die because I think she made the mistake of talking about how great life is going to be after the battle. You know those characters. They're like in the war movies where they're like, when the war's done, I'm going to go get me a farm and live off the land and boop. Like I said in the last episode, she's talking about how great life will be after the war. Her and Grey Worm are going to go back to her home on some island, and they're going to live out the rest of their lives peacefully. She is dead. Also, I think she's in the crypt, which we all know has the bodies, where the Night King, he can bring them back to life. So there's going to be this sort of attack in the crypt from all these dead Starks coming to life. I think she's going to get killed in that. And speaking of people in the crypt, we have Gilly, Little Sam, and Big Sam himself, Sam Tarly. So what's going to happen there is Big Sam, Sam Tarly, he's going to sacrifice himself to save Gilly and Little Sam. So Big Sam is dead, Little Sam lives, so does Gilly. Moving on, we have Edison Tullett. I think he just goes by Ed. That is Sam and John's best friend from the Night Watch, the only other one who's still alive, except he's going to die. He made the same mistake that the translator character was did, where he was talking about how, oh, it's just the three of us, but we're all alive. We're all alive. The three of us, of all of our buddies, we're alive, talking about how great it is to be alive. He's going to die. All right, next off, we have Sir Bernie of Tarth. I think she's going to live. She's quite the fighter. I think she'll make it out of that. Now, her squire, Podrick Payne, he is going to die. And while she's mourning the loss of her beloved squire, who's going to comfort her, but Tormund, the wildling, the big guy who's got a thing for her. They're going to bond over the death of the Podrick. All right, next up, we have a character who's lived through a lot and came back from the death, Lord Beric Dondarrion. I think that he's going to get killed off in this episode, and that's going to be it for him. Next up, the Hound. I think they're going to keep him around so we can get that Culzean Bowl. Hound versus the Mountain. So the Hound is going to live.